Hi, I'm Sherrill and welcome to my sewing room. I'm going to demonstrate how to take this plain, ordinary sweatshirt that I bought at Walmart and turn it into something completely different. I'm going to show you how to easily cut the bottom of that sweatshirt off and add a shirt tail border to the bottom. The shirt tail in the back hangs a little bit longer than the one in front. I'm also going to show you how to just soften that neckline up just a little bit. So let's get started. The first step that I'm going to do is I want to get rid of this band down here. So I'm going to cut it off first before I do anything else. Make sure the sweatshirt is smooth all over. Make sure these two band edges on the front and the back are together. Everything's lined up. Take your rotary cutting ruler and place it down. And I'm going to raise this up just a little bit by pulling on the shirt and raise up this other end a little bit. And then with my rotary cutter, I'm just going to cut it straight across. Okay. The next step you would want to do is try the sweatshirt on, because you need to see where this edge is going to land on your body. You might want this sweatshirt to come up really high before you begin the shirt that you add on at the bottom, or you might just want a small little band down here and you want to keep most of the sweatshirt on it. So try it on and determine where you want everything to land. Now I've just finished trying on the sweatshirt and I've decided I want to cut off just 3 more inches. So I'm going to place the 3-inch line on my ruler on the lower edge of the sweatshirt, get it all lined up, and then go ahead and cut that extra piece off. After I cut the additional 3 inches off of my sweatshirt, it came to right here at my waistline. So it was right about where the belly button was. So I took my tape measure, placed one end of the tape measure right at my belly button, and let the tape measure fall down. And I decided that I want the front shirt tail to end right about here, right where the crotch starts. So I looked at the tape measure to see where that was, and that came to 7 inches. All right, so this is what I did next. To calculate how wide I want, or the drop length of my shirt tail to cut out the fabric. It was 7 inches when I measured, right? From belly button to crotch. I want an additional 2 inches for seam allowance and hemming. So now the band that I need to cut of the fabric needs to be 9 inches. But on the back, I want my shirt tail to drop down 2 more inches. So I took the 9 inches here, added 2 more inches, so I'm going to cut this one 11 inches wide. After you've cut the fabric off that you want, then measure from side seam to side seam how wide that is, and then add 2 inches. After you're done doing all of your measuring, now you are ready to cut out your shirt tails. The front shirt tail, I'm cutting mine out 9 inches wide by 23 inches long, and my back shirt tail, I'm cutting it out 11 inches wide by 23 inches long. Here are my 2 shirt tail pieces. So after cutting them out, stack them on top of each other and line up one of the long edges. So smooth it out, then take it and fold it in half like this. Make sure all of the edges are together, all 4 layers that you have down here. Then you're going to take a bowl, a small round bowl, push it into that corner, and when the sides of the bowl hit the sides of the fabric, take a pencil or fabric marker and draw a line. Then Place a pin to hold all of the layers together while cutting, and then either with a pair of scissors or a rotary cutter, cut on that line. This next step you need to do at your ironing board, and you're going to fold the edges over 1/4 inch all the way around to the other side. After doing that, then you're going to stitch real close to the edge, right along there, and go all the way across to the other side. Then go back to your ironing board again and fold the edge over once more 1/4 inch and press all the way across to the other side. Then after you do that, you want to go to the corners and place pins to hold those corners flat. And you're going to stitch this time close to the inside edge here, all the way around to the other side, and then your edges should look like this when you're done. So once you've done your stitching, give it a good pressing, and remember you're doing this on both the front shirt tail and the back shirt tail. Have the front of your shirt facing up and take the shirt tail for the front and lay it face down. So here's the front side of my fabric. Bring it down against the front side of the shirt and place pins along here going this way, going parallel to the edge. You will have a little bit of the shirt tail hanging out past each end. Make sure you have equal amounts hanging out past each end. Then go ahead and turn it over and pin on the back shirt tail. After that, try the shirt tail on with this going down so you can see if it all is going to hang in the right place for you. While trying it on, if you're worried about poking yourself with some of the pins, you could, instead of pinning, use a needle and thread and do a basting stitch 1/4 inch away from the raw edge. After you've tried it on, before you stitch your lower border on, you need to make sure everything fit properly. If you need to make any adjustments, do it before you stitch this border on. So if you have just a little bit of fabric left over at the side seam, I just overlapped mine by just a little bit. If you have a little bit more than 1/4 inch, you could still overlap it. But if you have an excessive amount of fabric left over, I would trim some of it off and recurve your edges. If you need to add length to it, instead of doing a 1/2 inch seam here, well, you could do just 1/4 inch. If you need to shorten this, you've got to decide whether you're going to cut it off from your border fabric or from the sweatshirt itself, or both. So after you've made all your adjustments, go ahead and pin it on, and then you're going to stitch 1/2 inch all the way around. And I would use, because this is a knit underneath here, I would use a needle that works with knits, and also I would use polyester thread so that when this stretches, the thread won't break. After you finish stitching along here, then to finish off the raw edge, you can either run it through a serger or do a zigzag stitch along there. After you have done your zigzag stitch or serger stitch, then at your ironing board, press this seam towards the sweatshirt side. Then at your sewing machine, you're going to stitch, let me pull this up, there we go, 1/4 inch from the seam, come in and stitch all the way around. And I recommend that you use a walking foot because this is now starting to get thick in here and it may stretch your your sweatshirt fabric out of shape. To soften up the neckline just a little bit, take the band here and fold it over to where it's just below this right here. So fold it over and it will come over really easy. And then put pins to hold. And you're going to need your pins to be fairly close together. Then at your sewing machine, put your walking foot on because this is also thick and this will also stretch. So you're going to stitch just a little ways from the folded edge down here all the way around. So let's go to my machine and I'll show you how to do it. Now if you have any storage compartment that's around either side of the arm of your sewing machine, remove it so that you can slip the neck underneath the arm and it will make it easier to stitch around the neckline. You'll be able to move your fabric through much easier. So I'm starting in the back. You could start either at the shoulder or in the back. I would not start in the front. And you need to pull the fabric at both ends because this fabric stretches. So I do have my walking foot on. I want to remind you of that. And so I'm going to pull from the back a little bit and stretch the fabric while pulling from the front also. And then just stitch a little ways above that fold line. And keep adjusting your fabric, adjusting the shirt, pulling on the fabric, and keep stitching along there. The reason why you want to pull on this fabric is when you go to pull this sweatshirt over your head, it will stretch and you don't want to break your thread. So by stretching your fabric, you will not have that happen as you put the shirt on and off. And when you're done, this is what it looks like. Now you might be asking, I thought we're supposed to use a zigzag stitch whenever we're working on something that is stretchy. Yes and no. In this case, it's so thick up around the neckline that I didn't have to worry about the fabric rippling and not laying flat. I also wanted a really nice finished look, so that's why I selected the straight stitch. The zigzag stitch might not have come out as nice. Now, if you liked this video, click on that old thumbs up button and click on share to share this video with your friends. And if you haven't subscribed yet, click on that red button down there in the lower right hand portion of your screen. Don't forget to enter your email address and click on that little bell notification so that you will receive emails about my latest video. I'm Sherrill and I'm so glad you came to my sewing room. I'll see you next time, and don't forget, happy sewing.